Welcome now officially to everyone here also again in this spotlight on IDSA assets and achievements webinar. For those of you who switched from the official General Assembly that we just closed a few minutes ago to this, you already know that we did a lot of things throughout this year, but we also thought it would be a great opportunity to use the end of the year to invite others to see what great things we achieved. And this is exactly what we're here for, with a lot of guest contributors. The time given that we only have 1.5 hours, or 1 hour, no, 1.5 hours, sorry, is already a sign that we are not able to show you everything, but also for this, we have a solution, and that is something that we will announce at the end of this session. Before we start into the content, let me guide you a little through the agenda here. So the arrival is already done. First of all, I would like to frame the topic, and then we step into the assets that we came up with throughout the year. We go into the details in that very slot in a minute. After that, we will give the microphone to some of our members that want to present to you examples, what great things they achieved with these assets, with great use cases from the industry. After that, this will be framed by Thorsten Hülsmann, our CFO, and Lars Nagel, our CEO, and that everything will end with a farewell at 1:30 is also given. First of all, my name is Christoph Mertens. I'm the head of adoption here at the IDSA headquarters in Dortmund, Germany. As such, it's my pleasure to help those of you who deal with IDS, who want to implement IDS, to support you and to talk about adoption. And again, this is also why this is a perfect opportunity to show you what we did. Some formal things before we get into the content. Feel free to raise your hand in case you have comments. To my colleagues, please also let me know if I oversee a raised hand or a comment in the chat. Make plenty of use of the hand raise functionality, and also in case you have questions, please feel free to put them here into the questions section that you can find in the GoToWebinar tool. With that, let us dig into the details. Those of you who stick already with some time, for some time with us, you're familiar to this figure. It's basically the core of what IDS is, and also the heading really says why we are here. We are here to make IDS a global standard, and we are closer to this than ever before. And I hope at the end of this session, this will also be a clue to you because of all the great things that we achieved throughout the year. For those who know this figure on the left side, this is something where you still will find the reference architecture. But in addition, you also can see the IDS rulebook. We see what this is in a minute. And on the right side, there's a change besides all the hubs and the liaisons and the things that we did in order to help our members to adopt the standard and to proliferate the standard. There is the new thing called launch collision, and this is also what we will show you a little more in detail. Regardless, if we talk about the launch collision or the other great things that we achieved, and I cannot emphasize on this enough, this only is happening because of our members. We now have around 129 members in the association. For those of you who are with us for a long time, you can see the progress here is really taking place. And we have great new members that also in the near future will help us to adapt and proliferate the IDS standard, besides the thing that we already did for many years now, which is defining the standard. Let's talk about the launch collision and the part that was new this year, because for those who have been with us in Paris end of last year, we said that 2020 will be the year of adoption, which is also why I came in to take the position here as head of adoption and to shape and form this strategy together with my colleagues. and to allow those who are ready to shoot to not only define IDS, but really to use it. Therefore, we invited our members, and what you can see here is the portion of the members that decided to not only talk about the standard, not only to use it in research projects like we did it already for quite a long time, but to bring the IDS standard to a level where it is ready for use in the market in real life scenarios. And this is a group of more than 20 use cases with more than 30 companies. And one thing already ahead, let me take this punchline before we go at the end to the outlook into what will happen in the future. This is something that will grow. We expect many companies to join in from our new members, but also from the members that are with us already for quite a long time to help us to adapt this standard, and on how this will work in a minute more. Let's stick to what we achieved already in this year, 2020, which was the adoption year. If I would have to melt it down to the three main achievements, it would be the things that you can see here on the left side, which is certification, which is the essential services, and which is the IDS rulebook in the very first version. But besides that, we have also many other things that we came up with thanks to the great help of our members. We have offerings for IDS trainings. We have applications that work in connectors and in the context of IDS ecosystems. We have connectors that are available open source. We have connectors that will be quite soon available off the rack for those of you who want to buy connectors. We have new insights on business models, and there also will be a paper beginning of next year that will give you the insights that we gained around throughout the year together with our members, and let you learn more about the business side of IDS, because this is something that you also most probably already know. We are a bunch of tech lovers and love to talk about technology. And to talk about the business aspect of IDS is something that was long overdue, and we fulfilled that. A customer journey will be presented also in a few minutes from one of our colleagues here, which will make it easier for you to adapt the IDS standard, to make use of what is already there, and to give you an overview of what is already there, because this is something that is given. We have a lot of things. Our members know that Jive is a very large source of information, and to make it easier to navigate through this is a duty that we fulfilled also. Inspirational use cases is something that you will see in a second, and test beds is also a key thing that we came up with throughout the year. So let me talk maybe a little more about the certification, essential services, and rulebook topics, which brings me already to the part 2 of this agenda. The essential services, and let me go a little into the technical details, but not too much. The components that are essential in the IDS ecosystem are those that you can see in magenta red here on the bottom. It's the connectors, it's the identity story of the IDS ecosystem, namely certificate authority, CA, DAPS, Dynamic Attributes Provisioning Service, and Participant Information System, and also the certification. These are the essential things without those, an IDS ecosystem will never work. But we also have, of course, the components that are more optional, that bring functionalities like data discovery, application discovery, searching and finding ontologies, and clearing functionalities, which are also very, very important, but not that essential. The Launch Coalition took this as a goal to come up with what we call the base camp. So if you think about data sovereignty as a mountain, everyone wants to be at the top, but we believe that it was necessary to build first the base camp in order to allow everyone to make a rest before you go to the very top of this mountain. This is also why we are very, very short before coming up with a market-ready available IDS ecosystem that consists of exactly these components, and certification is not so much of a component, but certification is still very important. And these things are almost ready, and I hope you will stay tuned with us to be there when we announce their go live beginning of next year. But if you want to climb a mountain, it's not enough to have a base camp. You also, so the technical gear, to have the technical gear ready is not enough. You also need to know how to use it. And with the reference architecture, which also is with us for quite a long time, the technical equipment was very, very well described, and the processes behind this were were there, but not that explicit. So the IDS rulebook here is something that describes the operational side and also the legal side of the story. We have all the technical descriptions in there, but also functional agreements, operational agreements from the government side, administration side, maintenance side, policy side, and the legal side of the story. It is a version 1, and it will be published soon. I'll show you on the next slide exactly when we plan to publish it. And as you can see here from the status with the circle drawings, this is not ready, and it is something that we have to evolve over time. Everything is already in there, and we really need our members now to shape this more, to make it more precise, to bring it to the next level. The publication of the first version is planned for mid-January. So on 15th of January, you can expect to get your hands on this in case you're not a member. In case you are a member, going to Jive will already give you the opportunity to give what is there first reading before it will be now then officially published mid of January. So I already said that it needs to continue. It's not ready in a sense of we don't have to touch it again. We need to still work on it, and there are basically 3 things that we have to encounter here, which is the IDSA support organization that will follow the rules that are described in the rulebook. We also have the implementation of the rulebook as a key aspect here, where we need our bodies in the association to embrace what we have described here. The processes that are described have to be really lived. It means, for instance, for certification, applying for being an evaluation facility, applying to be certified, all of these things have to be lived really. And this is something that we will operationalize now as a next step. And yeah, the rulebook itself has to continue. The maintenance of the rulebook, of this document, is a very important key aspect here, and we need you as members to do so. For the time being, we will take care of it, but in case you feel you would also like to shape this with us, it would be great if you would get back to us in order to help us maintaining this very, very important key document. So much to essential services and the rulebook. I would love to give the floor now to Monika Huber, who is leading our workgroup certification, in order to let you know what we did in that regards and where we stand in regards of certification. So Monika, you should already be able to open your microphone and to share your
yes.
Screen.
Hello, wonderful.
Hello, Monika. Good to have you here.
I think someone still needs to give me the right to share. Ah, now I can share my screen.
You can share it. Great.
Let's see. Actually, I wanted to show, of course, the presentation slides to you, not my entire screen, as always. Yes, now you should be able to
Perfect.
see it. Yeah, I just want to give you a short overview on IDS certification. Don't fear if you have not been in close contact with the topic so far. I'll yeah, take the complete picture, so you don't need to know anything in advance. But of course, always also add a little bit on the current status so that you're up to date with what's happening there. Maybe to get you on the same page as first information, I hope most of you have heard this already. Certification is really the qualification for participating in the IDS. And it's not just one certification, but we have two complementary types of this. We have on the one hand side the certification for operational environments that's focusing on the companies providing components such as connectors or brokers or app stores in the IDS ecosystem. And we have certain operational requirements that they are supposed to meet based on the ISO 27001 and the BSE C5 catalog. And while this is focusing really more on the company structure and the processes in the companies, we also have the certification for the components, so really the technical components that you implement, that a lot of developers are working on. In particular, of course, the connector itself, but also the brokers, the app stores, the dApps, all the components we have in the IDS ecosystem. And here the certification is meant to ensure that technical requirements for this implementation are fulfilled, focusing on the one hand side on the interoperability, so that each component in the IDS will really be able to work together with with the other components, that we really have an ecosystem there. And at the same time, of course, also focusing on the security of the components to be able to trust that your data will be safe in the entire ecosystem. And again, here we did not invent everything from scratch, but we took the IEC 6244342 criteria catalog, focusing on security of components, and supplemented this with IDS-specific criteria and also some development criteria on the documentation needed and the development processes. And one big achievement we made there, that I hope many of you are already familiar with, is also the DIN-Spec 27070, which is a standard version of this criteria catalog in general for security gateways. Well, what happens now if one wants to get certified? We have a lot of people, of companies involved in this certification process. In particular, we have three different aspects to consider. We have always at the start the applicants, so really the company that wants to get an operational environment certification, or the developers that develop their component that's supposed to be certified. And those applicants can contact the evaluation facilities and the certification body to start the certification process. And well, what we then have is really a two-step approach. We have on the one hand side the evaluation facilities. Those really conduct the evaluation of the operational environment or of the technical component to make sure that they agree to they follow the agreed standards, that they really fulfill all these criteria that were defined. And then we have the certification body that's on the one hand side responsible for approving the evaluation facilities, but also then during each certification process, they are responsible of supervising these evaluations, of making sure that really the quality of these certifications is up to the requirements that we have in the IDSA, to ensure that each evaluation facility does this also in a comparable way, so that you can be certain to get the same result if you go to evaluation facility 1 or to evaluation facility 2. And if the entire evaluation was successful, the certification body is also the one responsible for issuing the certificates that can then be used. And to get you here on the same status as us, we have currently the IDSA head office that acts as the certification body, or more precise, there's the IDS support office. That's the group of people in the IDSA head office responsible for the certification body tasks. And they are really, really strongly working on getting this entire procedures defined and everything set up for the certification. And they are not doing this alone, but we have already 5 companies interested in becoming evaluation facilities, currently taking part in a dry run of approval, namely SICK, Fraunhofer Focus, SQS, and Natalia, focusing on the component certification part, and PwC that's already ready to start the evaluations for the operational environment as soon as the official approval process was really finished. Yeah, as I said, we are currently still in the process of setting all these things up. But if you have any questions concerning the certification, or also yeah, what's going on, can I assist somehow, just feel free to contact the IDSA and offer your support or raise your questions. They are always happy to help. And here maybe a short overview again, what will be the processes when everything is in place. The applicants will contract an evaluation facility that conducts this evaluation fieldwork, then providing an evaluation report to the certification body that really assures the quality of the evaluations and yeah, is responsible of keeping the entire framework up to date. And the certification body then will issue the certificate that of course becomes available for the applicant then. And they also provide these informations to the identity provider in order to be able to issue also all the certificates needed for the connectors in the IDS. And we have some more information here for you concerning the specifics of these 2 certification types. As hopefully many of you already know, is we have usually 3 different levels for the certification. So for the operational environment certification, we have the entry level, the member level, and the central level, where for each level there are more requirements to be fulfilled. This is particularly targeted to make sure that those operators that operate really some of the central components in the IDS, such as the identity provider, that they really have this central level certification as well, that ensures that they really have everything to the highest standards to fulfill all the needs that we have in the IDS to make sure that the entire ecosystem is trustworthy. And we do not have simply these 3 different levels, but we also have different so-called assurance levels. Those depict in what depth the evaluation will be conducted. So there is yeah, always one easy low barrier to get into the IDS, which is the entry level that's evaluated using a self-assessment. So really you as a company can say, yes, we checked through the criteria, we are really fulfilling all of them. You sign the respective documents, fill out maybe a questionnaire, and ensure, yes, I'm doing this. Whereas for the higher assurance levels, you will need to contract an evaluation facility that really takes care that you have a respective management system in place, or a management system combined with a control framework in place to really also yeah, enforce the following of the procedures that you defined as part of the criteria. One slide I will not go into that much detail on are the criteria in this certification criteria catalog. You can view it in the chive or also on the website by now. You can take a look what really are those criteria that I need to fulfill as a company that wants to offer one of the components. Here are just some examples, such as the management of all the assets you have, communication security, physical security, but also that you need to somehow have an organization and a management structure for the information you have in your company, and some security incident management. And I'll be finished soon. Here the equivalent view on the component certification. where we also have these 3 different levels: the base security profile, the trust security profile, and the trust plus security profile, with increasing requirements, but then of course also increasing guarantees, and also these different assurance levels on how much in depth the evaluation of your component will really be conducted. And that's also, again, the huge advantage you will have in the IDS is that you can decide, what do I want for my data? Does my communication partner need a certain security profile because the data is really critical, or is it data that can be simply shared with everyone because it's open data anyways? And here, for the certification of the components, we are still heavily working on this, because while we already have here this predefined criteria catalog with some IDS-specific criteria, some criteria taken from the 62443 criteria catalog, and also some security development criteria, we are still in discussion with the evaluation facilities to clarify the acceptance criteria for all these requirements, and to really make sure that each of the evaluation facilities will test these criteria in the same way. And with that, I'm finished with my short overview. Feel free to contact us also at the working group certification, or to participate in the working group. We are always happy about people assisting us. And yeah, with that, I would hand over back to you, I guess, Christoph.
Yes, thank you very much, Monika. Thank you for these insights. Let me take back screen control for you so you can follow my slides. Yeah, certification, we know that this is one of the major milestones here. And together with all the things that I introduced to you before, we stand again at a point in the association where we have one of our main challenges, maybe, to provide you the best possible overview over the things that are there, to explain the things that Monika now explained, the things that I showed you before about rulebook and everything. And my dear colleague Natalia Simon, here from the head office, now will present to you one way that we see how it could work to give you a better overview. Natalia, stage is yours.
Yes, thank you. Also welcome from my side. As Christoph already introduced me, my name is Natalia Simon, and I'm working for the head office here. And I was also deeply involved in the work of the launching coalition. And I was part of supporting the developers while developing their IDS components. And yeah, we found out, or we felt a huge, strong demand for support within this process of developing components. And so we decided to gather and collect every resource that could help within the development of IDS components. And on the next slide, we can see a huge overview, or a good and comprehensive overview of everything that is currently there. Every resource. There could be a service that we are offering as the IDSA head office or an IDSA member. It could be a training or a test bed. It could be also a documentation, which is here, for example, colored in yellow, or it could be also a Jive document where something is written down, where you can read some code snippets also, or it could be also a video. And we collected all the resources that could be helpful while developing the IDSA component. And we also identified the main steps a developer normally takes to develop such a component, and put this into order so that if you are developing a component, you can get a feeling for what resources or what resource can be used in which step of the development of such a component. And yeah, you can see this overview here is only depicting some of the main points. And on the next slide, you can see that we have also collected every detail of every resource. And you can see also on the next slide that this list is kind of very long. You can find here on this list the details to the resource, where you can find it, or who to contact to get information on this. And yeah, this list should give orientation during the process of development, to not get lost and to find the right resource at the right moment while developing the components. And this document, you can first of all find it here in the GoToWebinar tool or part section, where you can find some resources. So the graphic and the overview is there, and you can find it also on the Drive space, and we will also publish it very soon on the website and make it available to everyone so that it's easier to get access to it. And yeah, if you use this, and while using this, of course, this can be changed, or this can change, and also the resource can change. And feel free to just contact me or us to make this list a complete list, and to have it always with the current resources ready. And that's it to the list, and I'm very happy that we have now a complete overview about all the details. And yeah, thank you for this.
Fantastic, thank you, Natalia. And we also already can see that people are coming to the stage who are foreseen for the next slot. So Thomas, I already saw you. Great that you're here with us. First of all, before going to the next pitch slot, please make use of this. We can find it, like Natalia said, on Jive. Contact us in case you need guidance through this document. We are in the process of improving this, so it will be more understandable in a natural way, and you hopefully you won't need this guidance any longer. For the time being, feel free, of course, to get in contact with us. Before we now go to the next slot, where we would like to show you some examples and use cases, are there any immediate questions in regards of the Essential Services Certification Rulebook and Starter Kit that was presented? Please raise your hand. There will be a little more time afterwards, so we can get into discussions also. I cannot see any raised hands, so let us continue with the second part. And yeah, we invited some of the use cases that are very promising, and we would like to show you what they achieved. And Thomas, like I said, I already saw you. Feel free to open your camera, step on stage, and I can give you control. So you are able to share your screen. You should have it. And okay. Yeah, we can see your screen.
Can you see my screen? Yes. Okay. So welcome to everybody. So my name is Thomas Usländer. I'm from Fraunhofer IOSB in Karlsruhe in Germany. And we are about to discuss the question, how can IDS technology be used for industrial production use cases for smart manufacturing. That is why a community has been created, the IDS industrial community. So the motivation for this industrial community, which is abbreviated by IDSI, is to allow that the coexistence of the two architecture reference architecture models in Industry 4.0, the RAMI 4.0, and the IDS reference architecture model will nevertheless lead to compatible specifications such that IDS and Industry 4.0 may be seen as a uniform architectural approach, such that at the end of the day, solutions that are implemented for Industry 4.0 are interoperable with solutions of IDS. And this is necessary also for Industry 4.0 because autonomy and data sovereignty are one of the major goals in their vision 2030 of Industry 4.0. So how to do that, how to achieve that, this is the objective of the IDS industrial community. How do we do that? We are first discussing reference use cases, and we selected two very important use cases. One is coming directly from the platform Industry 4.0. It's a use case of the working group 3, the collaborative condition monitoring, where they are discussing the problem that if you consider components that are stored in deployed in machines, and machines are deployed in production systems and run by a factory operator, then each of these levels want to use their data. The vendors of these components, the vendors of the machines, and the factory owner all want to use data coming from different sources in such a factory plant. However, the usability is different. So the component supplier, of course, just wants to get his data in order to offer preventive maintenance services, for example, on the basis of his assets, that is the component level. The machine supplier has the same idea, same objective, but on a machine level. And the factory operator overlooks the overall production plant and wants to use that data also for maybe preventive maintenance for the whole plant. So it's a classical situation where you have a data sharing problem in a heterogeneous environment with different vendors, in which maybe you also have digital twins of all of these component types in place, but the usability has to be controlled of that data. So this is one of the classical problems, and IDS can help here. The other use case is called the Smart Factory Web. So this is a blueprint architecture for sustainable and flexible production environments. You may build marketplaces for industrial production out of that, similar to tourism industry and other industries. Also in the industrial production, manufacturing as a service will be offered in the future. New business models will arise, and if I talk that all this will happen, it already happens. There are already offers on the market. There are companies on the market coming from the US and also from China that offer this. However, they offer it in a very proprietary and restrictive, and for the factory owners, quite constrained way. So they are very reluctant, these factory owners, to offer their data to such platforms because there is exactly no usage control of their data. And we want to offer with the Smart Factory Web an environment in which all these advantages of new business models, manufacturing as a service, and so on are possible. However, by obeying European laws on privacy and IT security. And it should be open in the sense that international standards such as OPC-UA, such as Automation ML, E-Class, and also standards coming more and more from the Industry 4.0 environment, such as the Asset Administration Shell, that all these standards are being used. So what do we do in that industrial community? We are collecting requirements out of these use cases by describing each workflow steps of these use cases using a common template, what you see here on the left-hand side. So it's a semi-structured approach. Out of that, we are deriving requirements on data usage control, with it various aspects such as time to live, secrecy, anonymization, usage control, and so on, and also data provenance tracking, because sometimes it's very important to know where does the data come from, and this is done through metadata of the data. So this is being mapped then to system environments here, illustrated in a three-layered approach: infrastructure, Industry 4.0 system, or IDSA data space, and industrial application. And nowadays, all this has to be considered in the context of GAIA-X, So this is our vision, our approach to do this, to find gaps and also then to close the gaps via common and joint specifications and architectural patterns. If you want to contribute to this, you're invited to join the IDS industrial community. We are open for new members. Just send us an email, register IDSI to info@internationaldataSpaces.org. This IDS industrial community is led by myself, together with Andreas Teuscher of the SIG company, who is also the head of the architecture working group of IDSA. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Thomas. Very good in time, and thanks for the invitation to all of the listeners and viewers to the community. That's really a great endeavor. Thank you very much. So the next one in the list of those who would like to give you some more insights would be Bjørn Marius from Zernichow from SINTEF to show you the SINTEF use case. So Bjørn, I already saw that you're with us. Feel free to open your mic and your camera and show us what you got.
Yes, hello. Can you see, you can both hear me and see the screen?
Perfectly fine, yeah.
Good. Okay, so thanks for having me here. My name is Bjørn Marius from Zernichow. I'm a research scientist at SINTEF Digital in Norway. So I will present today the Maritime Data Space project that we have. First of all, Maritime Data Space, it's a 3+ year project spanning from 2018 to and ending next year, 2021. It's funded by the Research Council of Norway, and the primary objective is to develop and validate an open framework for a secure, robust, and efficient exchange of ship-related data by applying the frameworks and standards by IDSA. So we have with us some project partners. First of all, SINTEF is a project manager, also doing the R&D related activities. We have NAFTO as a project owner and also a provider of navigational information. Then we have Neuron Solution as a technology partner for data capture, and Wilhelmsen Ship Management as the business case owner, also validating the results. Finally, DNVGL is a provider of the Veracity platform for data exchange and analytics in this project. Let's have a quick look at some of the business perspectives of MDS. So a few of the challenges that we have is that, first of all, we want to enable collaboration and innovation between data providers on one side and service providers on the other side. So there is a lack of transparent access to ship-related data. Second, there is a lack of secure and efficient communication between ship and shore. And finally, there is a lack of a maritime ecosystem to provide trusted services, and also an ecosystem to include already existing data platforms and data ecosystems, such as the DNVGL Veracity data platform. So we have found a solution to this, and that is what we call the Maritime Data Space, enabled by implementing the IDSA framework. So this is a way to enable this collaboration and innovation between data providers and service providers in the maritime domain. We have in total 3 business cases. I will just briefly mention one of them, which is about MRV reporting. So the EU MRV regulation says that all ships sailing to, from, or between European ports need to report on fuel consumption and emission. So today this is a time-consuming and also several manual steps involved in this process. We have a ship reporting on the left side, pushing data to Wilhelmsen Ship Management offices. Again, pushing data to the Veracity Industry Data Platform and DNVGL as a recognized organization. The data, the final report, is consumed by EMSA. So how did we do this? With the help of IDSA framework. So let's have a look at some of the technical perspectives and how we realize the business cases. A look at the technology components we have so far. We have, first of all, a root and intermediate certificate authority, which is called SISIMS, that issues certificates for 6 connectors and 1 broker in total. So we have 2 connectors for each business case, 3 data provider connectors and 3 data consumer connectors. And then we have this broker component, which is the front-end graphical interface, where a user can get information about the available data providers and consumers, and also the data offerings. We also implemented the information model based on the IDSA hexagon information model that describes both participants and data offerings. We currently use the unique certificate thumbprint to authorize access to data. So a natural next step here would be to implement the dynamic attribute provisioning service to be fully compliant with the IDSA framework and also allow for more fine-grained access control. So this is what you see here is a high-level overview of the architecture of the maritime data space. This is for business case 1, the EU MRV reporting case. So we have a trusted CA, SISIMS, issuing X509 certificates to authenticate all participants in the data space. Then we have an MDS broker operated by DNVGL. This is the MDS data catalog. So all connectors push information about participant and data offering to this broker. As we see here, we have implemented the typical IDSA roles. We have on the left side, we have a data owner, we have a data provider with its connector, and we have a data consumer connector. And then we have the data users. On the next slide, on this slide, will not go into detail here, but this is just to show that we have 2 additional business cases. And interesting to see is that we have shifted roles. In business case 2, NAVTO can be a data provider, while in business case 3, NAVTO is a data consumer. So there is a shift of role, and this is what we have focused a lot on, demonstrating this effect of using IDSA framework. Okay, so that was a very quick 5-minute presentation of the Maritime Data Space project. I've included some information there. If you want to get in contact with me, please do so. I will be happy to answer any questions, and hope you enjoyed the presentation.
Thank you so much, Bjørn. At least I did. I think the others also. Thank you so much. So now we have heard something from the industrial part. We know now more about the maritime data space. Let's have a look at another vertical here with a Volkswagen use case that will be presented by Sebastian Opriel from Fraunhofer ISST. Hey, Sebastian, welcome to the stage.
Thank you. 5
minutes are yours.
Okay, so let me quickly we can share my screen.
Very good.
So there is a second screen, right? Do you see the slides? Right, great.
Absolutely, yeah.
So let me give you a short overview of our project IDS at BKM, which is the data exchange and the demand and capacity management between Volkswagen and ThyssenKrupp. So what we noticed is that the supply chain of the automotive supply chain is really complex. So we are talking about 40,000 suppliers in the whole network. And what we still have not reached is a full transparency. So you always struggle with intransparencies there, especially when you view non-standard processes like bottlenecks, for instance. Then you need a really quick exchange of information, especially scoped for this situation. So it's all about speed and a quick communication between each partner at the end. So what is the problem there when you say, well, I want to set up a system without media breaks? Then you have the problem that the participants in a normal supply chain, so companies, are fearing to come too transparent in the end. So the supplier is concerned about to be pressed in cost, for instance, or the OEM is concerned about the supplier that it cuts the supply to the really demand of the OEM. And these are just two examples, so that narrows all down on the term of trust, right? So there is not enough trust to establish a connection because they think the other company could misuse these informations. So we came up with a solution that we use usage control in the end to provide these trust that the data can't be misused in the end. And if I might give you an overview of the solution, what we have developed is, you see here a working prototype on our local machines, which is working with dummy data, right? I'm not able to show you the real data. Let me tell you, since April, we are piloting the system. And it was agreed that it will continue until mid of next year. So we are in TRL about 7 next year in the end after the piloting. What we see here is that you can pull information. So based on a peer-to-peer based data exchange, right? And you see that you are limited with your daily pulls, so you can't have a live view in the end. It's just about the situation which needs to be resolved in the end. We see here another policy about the valid until time. So after 24 hours, these data are deleted. The front-end access you also see with this screenshot. What you don't see is the policy regarding the external system and the limit of the data history. So if I would have clicked the refresh button 2 times more, then just 3 data would have been transmitted or stored in the end. But let me give you another view on what is something new in the IDS context and architecture. Normally, you provide data via an API, and what we came up is that it's not one-directional. So from participant A to participant B, we came up with a solution that we establish data connections under the term of a quid pro quo, which means that when you establish a connection between 2 companies, then this is a bidirectional connection. So if you want data, then you need to provide the same data or the equivalent data. So speaking of stocks, this is equivalent. So ThyssenKrupp and Volkswagen share the stocks about regarding parts. But when we talk about demands, the equivalent is the production information. So we came up with a three-step approach for a wizard here, where you need to define the time horizon. So when the connection is valid, that it's an on-demand connection, maybe which data shall be transmitted in which time horizon between which plants, and in the end to define the policies, right? So maybe you will allow the access with some restrictions for the front end. Maybe data will be deleted after 12 hours. You're just allowed to store 2 snapshots of the data, and maybe also data export via non-secure. So maybe in the end you have also the opportunity to let data flow out there, and maybe for other purposes because it's really urgent. So and then you set up the connection, and on the other hand side, the connector, the human needs to approve these connection because he must be okay with all the settings, and also he needs to approve that he's also sharing these information. So this is about a short introduction, short overview of project, which is, yes, right at the moment piloted between two sides of Volkswagen and ThyssenKrupp.
Yes, thank you so much, Sebastian. I also put this into the chat. Hopefully you read this. Feel free to raise your hand in case you have questions or comments to one of the people who present here. We will dedicate another minute at the end of the last pitch, so the end of the next pitch, so that you could do so, but also in between, feel free to raise your hand or put your questions into the chat. Thank you very much, Sebastian.
You're welcome.
Next pitch will be held by Serif Aktas from Deutsche Telekom AG. Serif, yeah,
yes,
good morning.
Hello to you. Hi, Christoph.
Good to have you here.
So,
hi.
Let me try to share my screen. So, could you see something?
Yeah, if you would put the presentation in the presentation mode,
yes,
I think we
are
good to go.
So,
fantastic.
So,
yes.
Thanks for the invitation. Hello to the round. Warm regards here from Hanover. Nice to be in the round with you and probably get afterwards also some in discussion. So the IDSA, our cooperation within the Deutsche Telekom. What I will present today is give you an impression how Deutsche Telekom cooperate with the IDSA and what's coming out, I would say, since 3 to 4 years of our cooperation, and to give you an idea also regarding our solution called Data Intelligence Hub. So my role at Deutsche Telekom, short briefly to me, I'm Senior Sales Manager, Analytics and Data Economy, and let's start. So, Deutsche Telekom membership since 2017, yeah. And what is a real interesting thing is that we also, of course, try to contribute from Deutsche Telekom with our industry and vertical knowledge, also in the different working groups within IDSA. And at the end, at 2017, we try to set up a really strategic decision to say, hey, it's really cool, it's really detailed to have a governance model, how we want to set up for the future our data related solutions based under the component data sovereignty. And then the board member of Deutsche Telekom decided to implement the first reference architecture of the IDSA to a solution. And that was really good and interesting. And this solution is a data intelligence hub. Yeah, so the data intelligence hub, I would say, is an ecosystem approach where we try to combine all the possibilities of data, brings it ingest to the data intelligence hub. Yeah, have a centralized pool of different data streams, and under the aspect, and that's the most important one, that the data is in value, and value is important for the companies and institutions from the public area to say it is governed and secured, yes, and that is based on the IDSA standards within the DIH, yeah. And so that you have the possibility to take data, bring it to the data intelligence hub, enrich it also with other new data streams, yeah, which could be also within an ecosystem. So the idea is at the end to bring the different value puzzles from different value chains together and say, yes, I want to drive new innovative solutions, yeah. And the data intelligence hub here is, I would say, also a really important play. Why? Because it has also, besides the data management approach, also one dedicated workspace. It's like a project room as a working space where you have also dedicated storage. And what's now really important is, besides the data management, you have some possibilities to reuse your data in different artificial intelligence and machine learning approaches. Yeah, and I think that makes really interesting to say, yes, it's secured and governed. We have an IDS standard behind that. It's coming from the cloud as a software as a service solution. And yes, I have analytical possibilities, and that makes now really interesting. Now you have on-prem data. you have cloud data, and based on the IDS connector, I will come to this point once more, you have the possibilities within the GAIA-X to combine on-prem data with cloud data in one platform, and that's on a secured and governed way. So ecosystem is really important. If you want to, I would say, to drive the new business models for the future, I would say we have to open our data landscape, yeah. And you see it also on the GAIA-X. Now we have data providers like weather data from the weather company, or here from the telecommunication area, or Foursquare location data. So we'll have. It's interesting to combine different data sets and try to define use cases. And of course, yeah, our solution partners also with the IDS connector, International Data Space Association, but also a hyperscaler like Microsoft, or also consulting companies like KPMG, also solution providers from the BI Corner, Cloudera or Teradata. So what are the benefits? Yeah, so what I repeated a bit. So uncover the data silos, I would say, and make these data valuable for new use cases. And of course, if you have a lot of islands of IT and data, that you try to harmonize these different data puzzles, bring them together, and of course to say, okay, how can I use that for new innovations, new applications I want to drive for the future, and I want to drive for my new customers and partners. Yeah. So, and that's the idea that we take the data not as an, I would say, information or as an asset. So see it, if we combine it with algorithm and software in the future, also as a product which you can sell. And this offers, of course, a lot of new opportunities in the market. So what we get also, our impression, what we get also in all terms and movements we see now in the media, like GAIA-X, like automotive cloud, and also the movements we see in the big tenders coming from the federal ministries of Berlin, or from the state ministers, or from the French area. So the whole topic of data sovereignty becomes more and more important also in the official tenders from the public area, and that's really good, because we need a governed and secured approach how we want to integrate the data, and here the IDS connector can play a really crucial role. And this IDS connector is also a really important factor within our solution called GAIA-X. So bring the different IT and enterprise landscapes together, yeah, open the data for new use cases, and what I see, what's the most important one, the data is under control. And so happy to be in the round here, and I'm looking also forward. We have a lot of approaches now with Sebastian, Opriel, also in funding area, but also in the area of the new movements within the European Union and the federal ministries of Germany. I see a lot of potential. I'm looking forward also with all IDSA members to get in discussion on that, and happy to be in the round. That's from my side. Thank you.
That sounds fantastic. Thank you very much, Serif. Yeah. So that was already the last pitch here, and I think it's hard to get more product than with what you were able to see here. But before we go to the next section, I would like to give you again the opportunity to raise your hands in case you have any questions or comments to one or more of these panelists that we had here. Okay, that doesn't seem to be the case. Then I would suggest to go to the next part here. We now saw some of the assets that we created throughout the year. We put this into the context of use cases. Now let's have a more strategic point of view here, and let's give the microphone to Thorsten Hülsmann, our CFO, who will talk a little about EU data strategy for us and put things into context for us. Hello, Thorsten.
Thank you. Hello, Christoph. Thank you very much. and I think someone has to make me presenter, right? Or am I allowed to share my? Yes, here we go. And
there is the presentation. Yeah.
Yeah. So I just want to start with this, and now everyone should see my screen in full screen mode, right?
Perfectly. Yeah.
Okay, so yes, just well, maybe 5 to 10 minutes pitch on the engagement of International Data Spaces Association in various, let's say, strategic endeavors on a European scale. We have witnessed in this very nice pictures, very concrete and very focused developments where parts of the IDS reference architecture model or components have been experimented with or implemented in various use cases. And as you know, also International Data Spaces Association as such is part of some well, innovation actions and research activities, mainly funded by the European Commission. Most of these projects are dealing with exactly one part of the reference architecture model, with a specific domain, with an experiment between a group of companies where you are sometimes also involved. And I see from the participants list that especially the colleagues from the RTOs like TNO, like VTT, like Tecnalia, and so on and so forth are also involved. But we also have some companies which are very much focusing on these funded projects. For instance, our colleagues from engineering who are leading some of the large projects where IDS also plays an important role. I want to point to one specific development this year. Most of you are aware that at the beginning of this year, the European Strategy for Data was published. And in this strategy, also data spaces play a significant role. And also the IDSA head office and a lot of colleagues from the members are engaged in a continuous, let's say, communication with the European Commission. And also the results or the preliminary results from our European projects are, let's say, uptaken in all these communications. And as most of these projects develop or experiment with a certain topic, I think we see now that the strategy of data, when it comes to life, so to say, is enriched with a lot of IDSA results and use cases. But the question remains how these data spaces on a European level, and we have here these 9 key domains which are proposed by the Commission, how they could be realized. Well, I want to give you an uptake on one specific project. It is not an innovation action and not a research action, but it is a so-called CSA. And for those of you who are not familiar with this abbreviation, it's a coordination and support action. And these coordination and support action are somehow supporting different activities. They are aligning projects, and they are also sometimes helping and supporting the Commission to do something in this direction. I mean, for us, as we are working in IDSA, in data sovereignty, and in all these things since years, it is obvious that what data spaces are and how they are built. And this was also showcased by the pictures we witnessed earlier on. So this is just another view graph of such a data ecosystem and how could it look like. But on a European scale, and having all domains, all experts, and all companies and organizations in mind, well, some of them know about data spaces, some of them know about International Data Spaces Association endeavors and results, but not all, obviously not all. And therefore, we are engaged in one of these CSA. It's called OpenDI, Open Digitizing European Industry, that is the abbreviation, and it is a so-called CSA with a duration of 36 months. Also, some of the IDS members like Atos, like Innovalia, like Engineering and Fireware are beneficiaries in this project. And I want to mention this exclusively because we are doing here a strategic activity which comes up at the beginning of next year with a kind of position paper on data sharing spaces and putting all the results we are finding within IDSA, but also outside IDSA into a position paper, which is titled Building Blocks for Data Spaces or Design Principles. No, Design Principles for Data Spaces is the right title. And I just want to mention it because the task force which IDSA is responsible in this project is quite a broad task force. It's called Task Force for Data Sharing Spaces. And my colleague Silvia Castelvi, who is leading this task force and leading the IDSA activities within OpenDI, is driving this further. And you see here on the left side a lot of logos of companies which you know. Some of them you know, but some of them you do not know. These are projects or companies and organizations who are involved in this task force and come up with different chapters on these data spaces design principles. And why are we working so intensively? Well, because we are thinking that IDSA is already a very good starting point for all these data spaces activities. And it is not only a very good starting point, it should also be used as a starting point. And therefore, this task force is led by IDSA to really embrace, to bring together all the different results and findings from within IDSA, but also from outside. And therefore, well, I just want to invite you to follow this OpenDI project, maybe also to reach out to us in the head office, to Sylvia or to me or to others, if you are interested to participate in this task force, or at least to follow a little bit closer, because this will definitely guarantee that the data spaces initiative is not starting from zero, but it will start from the results of IDSA and our achievements we have done so far. And then also these nice IDS small ecosystems, which are a data space, will be displayed in all the future data spaces activities, and also the main well, benefits of these cross-sectoral data spaces we witnessed throughout the pictures, but also within our working groups, make clear that there shouldn't be any platform silos in the future, that it is very important as an enabler for AI and for big data applications to enlarge the data pool and also to really unleash the potential of cross-sectoral benefits, because we all know when we are working in industry that only having data spaces or data platforms within one domain is nice, but it is nicer to have cross-sectoral relations and then also to have the cross-sectoral benefits. So this is what I just wanted to inform you about. So please follow, stay tuned on these activities, and especially on the OpenDI project, but of course also on all the other EU-funded projects, and also the national funded projects. We have heard from Norway, the SINTEF use case, which is funded by national governments. Also the Fraunhofer cases Sebastian talked about are partly funded by the German government. So I think this is really a great result, and we try always to bring all these results and achievements together. So this should do for the time being from my side. Christoph, may
Thank you so much.
Back to you.
Yeah, thank you, Thorsten, for these insights. And I can see that Lars is already running here to the stage. Hello, Lars. Let us make you a presenter so we can see your screen. We can already see you. Yeah, we can see your slides.
That's great.
But in presenter mode for the time being. Maybe this is the wrong screen. Yeah, this could help. So we had now 1 year. Yeah, perfect. We had 1 year to. Yeah, now it's perfect. Go ahead. The stage is.
Okay. So, hello everyone. Partly again, hello to all of you. You can hear me, right? And everything is fine, Christoph?
Yep, we can hear you.
Okay. So
one thing, maybe Lars, before you start, can you hide the GoToWebinar thing by clicking on the red little arrow on top of the thing? Yeah, perfect. Thanks.
Okay. So warm welcome again from my side. It's good to see some of you back here. We already met in the General Assembly, but also some additional people have joined us. And yeah, I'm really happy that we came together here in this spotlight session for IDSA. Well, this morning I thought about, okay, well, what would have happened in the non-corona time? So then we probably would sit together, probably in Amsterdam or Rome, and have our General Assembly together with the winter days, really thinking about how to make IDS happen. We met exactly a year ago in Paris for the winter days, and then this year turned out to be a nightmare. So it was really challenging. The more I'm, well, really happy that we achieved so much, and that we really could give IDS a boost and, well, made and gained a lot of track in reaching our goals. And well, as you heard before, we had here and there perhaps some delays, but in general, we achieved what we wanted to when discussing at the beginning of the year, and probably even more. So, and one important thing. So I'm struggling with a. Oh, that's not nice. Okay. One important thing was GAIA-X and the involvement of IDSA in GAIA-X and bringing our core values, our asset, our insights into GAIA-X. And well, data sharing and data sovereignty, that is what we are doing. And well, I came across a new term. So when thinking about, okay, IDSA, so our community, our members, so you, all of those many people which are engaged in our social collaboration platform Jive, but also in our bodies, in our working groups. So what is our core expertise? So I feel, and I came across this term, I think we are data spaces engineers. So we know what data spaces are, and we know how we can build them, how we can construct them. Well, we know what has to be done, and we know all the nuts and bolts in order to, well, create data spaces. So that is what we have achieved in the last 5 years, and that is what we can bring as a large ecosystem to GAIA-X and support this, well, pan-European and even global endeavor. And that is, I think, what we really should do. We have 5 years worked on all of this, and GAIA-X can be really a starting base to really give IDS another boost. Were we successful in positioning IDSA in boost in GAIA-X? Yes, I think we were, and there are also proofs that it is like that. So you see on the screen the sample paper of GAIA-X, and at the very beginning of this paper, it is explained, well, who will contribute what to GAIA-X, and for data sharing and data sovereignty, it's mentioned, well, it's IDSA, bringing a lot of things to the table and providing the standard. So from an architectural point of view, from a conceptual point of view, we are talking about a digital sovereignty, and this may be consisting of the cloud and data sovereignty along the whole data value chain. And well, what we are doing in IDS, it's like all the data in motion stuff. So how to really combine data sets, exchange data, talk about usage constraints and usage of data in itself. So that is what we are doing. GAIA-X adds the part of data storage. So, okay, where does all this data sharing and all the processing of data take place? So in IDSA, in the last years, we did not take this into consideration. We said, okay, well, we define the connector, but, well, it is open to companies where they put this connector. So it's a perfect addition now, having GAIA-X, where we also can answer this whole question, the whole stack from a cool, smart service scenario at the top via data sharing and data usage down to, well, storing and processing. So therefore, when you're really talking about data exchange, we need both, and that is what we then combined in GAIA-X, and that is why we think IDSA and GAIA-X is a perfect fit. So so I'm speaking now to the members of IDSA, but also to those outside, but especially, so we must make sure that these things are clearly defined and that everything works together perfectly well, so that we don't forget things, that we really can accelerate the speed for GAIA-X, and that we do not do things twice and several times, so that we do not have inefficiencies in that. So we must really make sure to arrange IDSA and GAIA-X IISBL, how this will work together. So that is what we did this year, and I see three major fields where we have this collaboration. So in the first is content. So we have to realize or conduct the transition of content which we created the last years to GAIA-X. So that is about technology and our standard. So the IDS concepts, they will be included in the GAIA-X policy rules and the architectural standards. And in order to make that sure, we are appointing members from the IDSA head office, but also from our members, member companies, member organizations, to the different bodies. So we are co-chairing the cross-association working group. We bring members to the technical committee as well as to the policy rules committee in GAIA-X. So, well, we are in very central positions there. Then we have joint projects where GAIA is really becoming reality. So this Federation Services project, we are leading the work package where it's about, well, sovereign data exchange. So again, we are, well, guiding this. And our essential services which we, create and set up in IDSA, they are will be included in the GAIA-X Federation services. So that is on content. We have a great paper written by the colleagues from Fraunhofer, and it will be amended from the working group architecture, which states this very, very clearly and very comprehensive. So what can be reused in GAIA-X? And the GAIA-X ecosystem, they really appreciate what we have been doing there. From a formal point of view, we have to really come up with a clear contract between the AISBL and the IDSA. So we are working on this. So whoever wants to join us in smart ideas, please do so. IDSA is a founding member of the GAIA-X AISBL, and we have members or representatives from the IDSA ecosystem are in the board of directors of the GAIA-X AISBL. So it's both Otto and me with formal positions, but also Hubert Adieu from Atos, Max Ahrens from Deutsche Telekom, and Sophie Taillondier from Institut Mines Telekom. So we have really a strong chunk of IDS in GAIA-X AISBL. And then third thing is, well, we have to mutually stimulate both ecosystems, so GAIA-X and IDSA. So IDSA is a vital organization of these data spaces engineers with years of experience, but we have to, well, admit that in GAIA-X there are also a lot of people gathering, and we have to team up with them, because when it comes to adoption, GAIA-X can really help us a lot, and that is what we should drive. So content, formal relationship, and then really a close interaction with both organizations. And then we can really tell everyone out there that we can really contribute a lot on different levels. So from the political and strategic level via the fundamental concepts of data sharing, the technical deep dive, so reference architecture, our standard and the certification scheme, but also a large community of practice where things have already been proven and things can be reused. Really a true global reach, which well, still has to be created in GAIA-X, and also a very active and powerful network of IDSA hubs. So things to be reused, and that is what we will tell and are constantly telling the GAIA-X ecosystem, and they learned it, and this year we really made progress, and I can tell you that IDS is really acknowledged as an important part of GAIA-X, like a core, a pillar, or a cornerstone. Here, and I just want to show the picture, you can have a look at it, and there will be a paper created by Fraunhofer and the working group architecture, which does a deep dive on that. So you can see the general picture of architectural sketch of GAIA-X, and well, there's IDS concepts every here and there, and especially the central components, the connector is well, really merged into the GAIA-X architecture. You can see all the light gray boxes. These are all IDS concepts you will recognize, and which are described in the reference architecture, and this will be reused in GAIA-X. This will be written down in the architecture of standards, in the policy rules. So I will really ask all of you, so a lot of you are also part of the GAIA-X ecosystem, go there, join the working groups, bring IDS concepts there, be an ambassador for IDSA, so that the people will see and learn that a lot has already been answered. This will help IDS to be proliferated. On the other hand side, it will help GAIA-X to accelerate and to gain speed, and that is what we all need. So it's really a mutual benefit, and we should go for that. And then even above, at the end, it's all about creating data spaces. It is written in the Commission strategy for data, and Thorsten already mentioned it. We are writing on this paper, design principles for data spaces. Everyone is looking for, well, design principles for data spaces. How do we build a data space? How does it work? Well, we have the answer on this. We are the data spaces engineers. We know how it works. We have defined the generic core, so that well, the core elements which hold true for all data spaces endeavors in every domain. This is this light blue thing in the middle. So the generic components, it works for every data share. And then we know that there are some specifics for different domains. So we have to show how, for example, a domain-specific vocabulary can be linked to the information model, to the metadata model on the generic level. And then there are even use case specific and business case specific things to define. Well, this is all written and explained in our reference architecture, and we have to really lend all people and companies out there a hand in order to really start building the data spaces. And that will be the end of my speech here. So what has to be done? We want to create data spaces. First, all the architectures and inside they have to converge. We need these common design principles. I think we can contribute a lot to this, but we have to explain it on European level, for example, via OpenDI, but also other ventures we're doing. Then, well, it's about making embryonic data spaces grow. We have to nurture them. We have to explain others how to make from a nice project with 5 partners really a data space. So I think the RTOs, but also the consultants and some of our technology providers, you know how it works. So we can be really in a leading position to make data spaces happen. And well, that is what we should do. We are in a perfect starting position on European level, as Thorsten explained, but also in GAIA-X endeavor. And well, the next question is how to erect data spaces. That will be the idea next year. The Commission will come up with a lot of ideas and concrete measures. We will be part of it. Let us be part of it from the IDSA ecosystem. Let us show them that we are the data spaces engineers, that we know how this works. Let's team up. We have a large chunk of expertise, and let's make it happen. So I think we are well out of time. I would use the opportunity to say thank you to all of you. First, to the team which helped to organize the General Assembly and the spotlight, but also which helped to make everything happen throughout the year. But we can, from the head office, we can only do what we can when you support, when you are active, when you contribute, when you are committed and engaged, bringing ideas forward. And that is why I'm really happy. So I tell everyone out there, IDSA is really a vital community, and that has been proven this year. So the Launch Coalition, the developers community, the certification working group, there's so much energy inside, and that is why I really like IDSA working with you. Thank you very much for contributing. I hope that we can really reach a lot more even next year. I'm looking forward to working together with you for each event and each working group meeting. Yeah, so from my side, have a nice Christmas time. Enjoy it as far as you can. Do the best, and let's hope for a better 2021. I'm sure that it will be a great one for IDSA. So thank you from my side, and back to Christoph.
Thank you so much, Lars. I think there's not much left to say with your final words here. Thank you for the presentations. Thank you also to the attendees for staying tuned to what we have to tell you. Are you able to see my screen? Should be the case, yeah. So maybe, I know every one of us here with Corona and webinars, we are all packed with looking into our screen, so I won't stress your time too much longer. I just want to give you a perspective on how you can continue the great work that you already did in the next year also together with us. So the next touch point for those of you who would like to know more, because that is something that is for sure, the 1.5 hours we now had is barely enough to show you what we came up with. And we would like to take the opportunity already in January, on January 28th, to bring to you the IDSA Portfolio Day, where we want to present more of the solutions that we created throughout the year to you, so you can jump in, support others, get connected, and this is, I think, the perfect time to continue the work we did throughout this year, already beginning of next year. And also on this roadmap, I really keep my fingers crossed for an IDSA summit in 2021 that will happen physically in February or March next year. I really would love to see you in person somewhere over the globe. I don't want to show you any more detailed slides with text on it, just so much to the last point here. All the people that we that presented today, all the people that worked together with us throughout the year are here with us because they are here with us voluntarily. They work with us because they believe in the very same idea to bring data sovereignty to the digital economy. And if you want to see your logo on one of these slides and want to step into this game, just contact us and shape this very important future area together with us. And with that, have a good rest of the year. Merry Christmas to those of you who celebrated. Being international also brings to us the challenge to have people that are in different countries that celebrate different opportunities. For those of you who celebrate Christmas, Merry Christmas. Come good into 2021 and see you next year. Goodbye, everyone.